Hi everyone, this is Rushidi. Today is September 28th, 2011. So recently, the financial market has huge reactions towards the problem coming from Europe and the problem from the US itself. In the past videos, I discussed the problem of the US extensively, and today I'm going to take some time and kind of talk about the problem, especially the debt problem of Greece in the European Union. As the great Austrian economist Friedrich Hayek once put it, if we ever want to know how things might go wrong, first we must know how things might ever go right. So, what is a healthy situation for a government like Greece to have? Of course, a more favorable situation would be a government spends what it takes in revenue, which is taxation, and it uses this revenue efficiently to provide necessary service to the public. And also, its politicians does not overpromise its people during elections and re-elections. For instance, he does not tell the people that they're gonna get universal free healthcare if they elect him, but the country is financially unsound and it's not healthy enough to provide everyone with free healthcare. To do that, if the politician gets elected, and to do that, he has to borrow money from other governments to pay for the universal health care, which obviously they can't afford it, and the country will go in debt. And shall be the model of a favorable government, because the government does only spends what it takes in revenue, and its politicians does not overpromise its people during elections. Greece is definitely the exact opposite of this model, because its government overspends on its budget, that is spending more than its revenue, and its politicians overpromise the people about their in the future. For instance, they promise their universal free healthcare and entitlements, which obviously the Greece government cannot provide, and their society is not wealthy enough to afford this. But people's expectations are up there, right? If you promise people that you're gonna give them entitlement or retirement money when they retire, then what's gonna happen is people will change their consumption preferences right now. Instead of saving for their retirements, they will spend their money right now to buy goods that they desire. But since the government cannot fulfill that promise in the future, then of course that's going to create a problem, right? People is going to go on the streets to protest. And investors shouldn't have overlooked this. They shouldn't have just thought that Greece government is safe to invest money. In fact, they should have done their homework before they loan their money to the Greece government, because obviously Greece government doesn't have the capacity to provide this, promises, and it has to go in debt to provide those services. Well, if they go in debt, then how are they gonna pay those interest? Now their taxation cannot even cover the interest expense. Now they're looking for bailout money from Germany and from France. Why should the citizens of Germany and France be responsible for the losses made by those investors? I mean, after all, those investors made foolish decisions. They shouldn't have loaned money to a government that's financially unsound. I mean, they should take their own losses. Nowadays, if you lose money in the stock market, the government doesn't come in and give you a bunch of money for your losses. You know what that's going to create? That's going to create unintended consequences. People are going to be careless about their money since the government will bail out them eventually. Since that idea is in their mind, they will be really careless about the money and do any kind of foolish investments. And eventually, the government will end up with more problem than it solved. And why should the idea of default be so fearful to politicians and investors? Because after all, say there's a corporation and it goes bankrupt. Well, its bondholder loses money because they made unwise business decisions, right? They shouldn't have loaned money to a company that's run by unwise managers. But the same event, but in a different scale, and you move it to the government scale, then how is that any different from a corporation scale, right? After all, government has its revenue and it has its expenses, right? It has made unwise decisions. It shouldn't have promised the people. So when it goes, bankrupt, then obviously it should default on its debts, right? No one should be responsible for those people who loan us money because they made unwise decisions. And the best thing to happen is allow Greece under default. And that's not the end to the world. I mean, people thought that if Greece government defaults and the whole Greece society is just gonna collapse. No, when Greece under defaults, the government is forced to cut its spending and to below its revenue so that it can have surpluses and pay off this debt. And of course, pay off those interest expense. However, on the other hand, if Germany and France decides to bail out Greece, then what's going to happen is the Greece government will rely more on those bailouts in the future because they're not going to make significant cuts on its budget because they already thought people are going to bail them out, right? Last year, I mean 2 years ago, Greece undergo like the problem of default already, and global governments just keep bailing it out, right? So what happened after 2 years? The problem is still there, but on a larger scale, right? No significant cuts has been made, and the problem will only be worse to solve in the future if Germany and France decides to bail out Greece. However, from my observation, Germany and France would definitely bail out Greece, maybe tomorrow or who knows when. But definitely that's not a wise move. That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be vlogging again soon. Take care. Bye.